Okay, so I'm going to do that NSX NSX T 3.0. So let me show that what will be the topic which I will do the practical here. Okay, this is the manual guide. Okay, and I have lab as well 3.0. This is the official Cisco VMware guide. So will introduction is fine. We have already one NSX manager. How to install it? I will not going to show it. And this is also fine. This is still licensing. Licensing I will give you the demo. And this is also we already have the license, but I will show you that. This one NSX manager cluster information. I can show you that how many devices, how many NSX manager I have here. And then Vcenter, this is also I have done that. It means NSX manager integration with the Vcenter, which I can show that. Okay. Okay, so let's go here. Where it is. Okay. So I have this is actual lab. This is not any kind of VM lab. This is actual VMware lab with the licensing and all. Okay, so if I go there, I already have that NSX manager installed. This is the vCenter. I already have one vCenter and 5EXXI host. Okay, I can show you that login. Let me log into this. Okay, so this is the vCenter I already have SC data center, and I have two cluster node here. One is for the EXXI 4 and 5, and I have management cluster here. So management cluster will be for the EXXI NSX T edge node as well as for the vManager. Okay. So in the one data center, I have two cluster. One is compute. Compute will be your normal EXXI, which will carry your the application machines and all. Okay. So I'm going to log in this. Let me type here password so it get where 1!1. Okay. Okay. So this is my NSX T vManager, which I have already installed in the this is 3.0 NSX T vManager. If I see the licensing part here, if I go system, this is the dashboard of it. And if I go there, license already have that license part. So now the verification is done. So licensing part is also, this is done. So if I already have enterprise license here. Okay, it's valid, never expired. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to have a look the vCenter license here, and this is the where I think configuration here. If I see license, already have license. If we do not have any license, we can assign the license here. Similar for the EXXI, already have the license here. If I go configuration, if I go in the license system tab, already have enterprise plus. So already we have the EXXI with the 7.0 running. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to perform first task here, which will be the, let me show that from where I'm going to start here. This is our topology, overall topology. I have one external router, which is physical router. This is also physical router, which you can say it's a switch or router, whatever you want to say that. This is T0 gateway, T1 gateway, and I'll have these are the segment L2 switches. Okay, and goal is to ping app or DB. Between app and DB should be connection should be established, as well as these apps should be reachable from a student lab desktop. Okay, I mean this RDP desktop. Okay, once everything end to end will be complete. Okay, so first task is to, let me do that. Okay, first task is to review the configuration of the NSX manager and instance and all, licensing and all. I already done that. And prepare the host. And this is the normal access of the VXXI as well as the NSX manager. Verify the host licensing, which is already done that. And this is the steps which you can, so that this is a configuration licensing part. You can go complete configuration appliance and check the value, how many vManagers are there, what is the configuration of the vManager. This is the 16 GB RAM which we have. We do not have any kind of cluster. If we have cluster, we can directly add it here, like host name, these are all the things. But recommended is to use the medium for the production. And this is the POC. I'm going to use the small one. Okay. So yeah, so this is how you can add as a cluster. But since we do not have resource, I'm not going to add multiple NSX manager. Maximum 3 appliance you can add for the clustering of the NSX manager, but I have only one which is running here. You can get more details like here in the proper detail, what kind of operation state here for that. And one more thing I want to point out here, application NSX manager has now NSX controller as well. So before 3.0, we had only NSX manager, and then we had separate NSX controller. Now we have the NSX controller and manager in a single appliance. Okay, so let's start with fabric here. Fabric, in the fabric, first thing I'm going to do it to add the vCenter here. Vcenter, why I want to add vCenter, because in the node profile I already have the clustering. Okay, if you do not have any clustering in the vCenter with this EXXI, you can add standalone. Okay, you do not need to add. So the advantage of this NSX manage NSX 3.0, it's not mandatory to add the vCenter, unlike the NSX V. It can run without even the vCenter. Okay, so let me go here. This is the verification is done. Okay, so NSX CLI vManager cluster, you can get the information. What is the status of the cluster? But since I do not have cluster, I have given you the overview. But still, I want to log in to vCenter Manager. This is my putty session, SSS session, you can say. And okay, so command is get cluster status or configuration, whatever you want to check here. Okay, if you have 3 cluster, it will show all three nodes here. But since we have only one, so it's only one. It's showing that this same appliance acting as a controller, NSX controller, as well as NSX manager. Okay, as I told you earlier. This is the management IP of this NSX manager. Okay. I'm not going to detail it how the NSX controller and manager works, but still I can give you some overview. And this is some of the PPT which I have working on that. This is my setup. Okay, this is my setup. So I have 2 EXXI cluster. One is for the management. One is for the what we call it for the compute nodes. Okay. Yeah. So second thing is to, this is the done part, and add the register the vCenter in the as a compute server. So this is already been done. Okay, this is some credentials and information which you can add it. This is pretty much simple. Go under the fabric and compute, and you can add up to 16 16 VM vCenter here per Nsx T controller cluster, you can say. So these are the pretty much information which you can put and add it. Simple. It's a simple way to do that. So when the registration is done, you can see the status of the vCenter and all. Okay, I can show you that what information I have given here. Just uh, just these information I have given: IP address has FQDN and name and all. That's it. And third thing, what I'm going to do that this is done. And this is the how the cluster we can configure and simulate that NSX manager cluster. Like as I told you that we have only one NSX, so we cannot do that clustering. But we have one demo lab, just like simulated lab, where we can just show that how to add the cluster and all. Okay, if you get, I go there. If I open here, this is NSX manager one. If I go there, it's pretty much simple. Already given that what are the steps which we need to do that. So in the system and appliance, here I have only one, so I can add here this one, this one, this one, and yep. So I can give only a small one. This is how the cluster configuration you can do that. Yeah, so this is pretty much same as a management cluster node. Do not need to do that. Only mandatory task you can do that. This we can do what we can do is already given here. Uh, so configuration appliance management pool. This is the SA database remote one we can give, and just select that network. Network will be the your already given here management one. So if I go there, this one, then next, and these are some such enable root credential. We can give that VMware. This is a normal password that, and install it. And this is the normal. Okay, install it. So it will automatically install an app will add as a cluster. After the cluster form for the similar for the third cluster, we can add as a virtual IP as well. So we can access this NSX T controller manager from that IP address, virtual IP address. Okay, so this is the normal how we add the management cluster or NSX manager cluster. Okay, again I'm going to, this is the task which is done. Okay, this is the normal demo lab. This is not a physical lab. Okay, and prepare the NSX infrastructure. First, I'm going to create the transport node IP pool for these all the uh, EXXIs, and we will prepare the EXXI host. And I have already also the KBM host as well as the EXXI host. Okay, so that how to add the KBM host. KBM host has a multiple vendor. So this NSXT does support multiple vendor for the hypervisor. Multiple vendor in the sense it not support for the Microsoft and for other vendor as well, which I will show that how many vendor it does support. Okay, so this is a pretty much simple step. We'll go under the system fabric and add the overlay transport node. Okay, I, by default there is two transport node is already created. Okay, So if you want to use, you can use that. If you don't want to use, you can create new one. Okay. So what is the name of that particular? I can copy paste from here. Okay. What is the NVIDIA switch name? I'm not going to create VDS. I'm going to create NVDS. And this is a VXLAN overlay. It represented the VXLAN. Okay. Transport node. If you want to create VLAN, you can just type. It's just name. Okay. Identical name. Okay, so this is the switch name which I'm going to use. This is a simple overlay network. I'm not going to type anything because it's not part of our thing. Okay, I'm going to leave it same. Add. Similarly, I will add for the VXLAN transport node. This is the first step of that. Okay, I already added VXLAN, but I'm going to add a VLAN transport node. So this is the transport node for the VLAN. I'm going to create the switch. And the difference is only VLAN. Instead of VX overlay, VXLAN, we can select VLAN. Okay, just add it. And now we will prepare for the management IP address pool. Okay, because we already created that a VLAN as, as well as the VXLAN transport node along with the NVIDIA switch. Okay, vSwitch. Now I'm going to create the pool for the host preparation. So this is a pretty much simple networking and IP management IP pool. We can add it, and this is the pool name. What this is the IP address. Okay, this is the IP address. So let's go there and the networking tab here, and we can create from here or we can select from here IP pool. Okay, it's both way we can do that. It's not a problem. Add IP. You can create as a block. You can create as a pool. Okay, there are the option which you can do that. I'm going to copy paste, just copy paste it for, and I'm going to add here subnet here. I'm going to add range. Okay. Sorry. And this is the normal CIDR value which I'm going to use. Gateway will be 10. 10 will be the gateway for us. I'm sorry. Okay. So you have to select add item, then it will select you that, give you the pop-up. And then I'm going to give the gateway of this. This is the normal. I have external router to gateway. This is the gateway IP. Even I can use a specified DNS server and the suffix, whatever you have, you can add it. Okay. This is the normal. Add it here and apply it. Save it. Invalid IP. Okay. Okay, got it. So where I can edit it here. I think I did. We can edit from here. 3 tab is there. I think is dot is extra there. Just copy paste mistake here. Okay, so I'm going to add it here. Make sure it's not dot for any other IPs. Okay, now it should save. Okay, done. Okay, if you'll go, it's successful. If you can check here is a normal home page. It will show the IP pool is 1. Okay, it's just a normal. It's a bit slow. Okay, so one IP pool is present now. Okay, let's prepare for host EXXI configuration. Go under the node. I'm just going to follow the same. I'm not going to add the is transport. As of now, I'm going to add host transport. Host means whatever you have EXXI. If you do not have vCenter, added here, you can do a standalone. It means one by one. If you have 5 hosts, you can add 5 times. But if you already have the vCenter, which is running the clustering, XXI host cluster, you can check here. There is 2 cluster. One is for management, and second is for compute. So our purpose is to use compute node here. I'm not going to use any other one. Okay, I'm just going to click configuration NSX, and I do not have anything here, so I can create a transport node profile here. If I click here, let me give the name same as whatever I have here. In an EXXI transport node profile, I'm going to copy paste it here. And it's going to be NVIDIA's. I'm not going to use VDS. It's standard only. Enhanced mode has differences, and there are few services which you want to, if you're going to use that you have to select it. But as of now, I'm not going to touch any enhanced mode here. This is the NVIDIA switch name. Okay. I'm going to use overlay VXLAN NVIDIA's, and transport zone I'm going to use created one, overlay transport. I'm sorry. If I go here, transport node is fine. I'm going to use this default NIC input output profile here, and similarly for the uplink. Okay. Similarly default. If I scroll down here, there are applicant profile. Applicant profile you can create or you can use default one. Okay. So, as you wish that. I'm going to use default one, default uplink host. Okay. LLDP you want to enable, or else you do not want to enable. It's up to you. What IP address you want to sign for this host. If you have DHCP server, that's fine. Otherwise, I already created the pool. I'm going to allocate this pool. It will select the pool IP. And here I'm going to use teaming policy. Teaming policy in the sense I have one link only. Okay. So failover link I have, one is active, one is standby. So I have, since I have only one, so VM nick one, sorry, 4. So I hope you guys know that this, what is the this vnic means. Okay, it's normal physical. It represents the physical one, just like the NSX VMware EXXI concept. Okay, it's nothing more difference. Then I can add and refresh it. Okay, add. It takes some time, like few minutes to do that, and once it's done, it will already prepare the host for you. Okay, so it is taking time. Let's wait for a few minutes. It is taking a little bit time here. So far is 48%. So I'm going to pause this video for a while. Let's see how much take time. Okay, so I'm going to check that how many logical switches I have created here. It should show 3: app, DB, and web, right? Look here, these are the VNID, which is by default created. These are the UUID. Okay, so these are the verification, which you can do that. These are the things from CLI. Okay, you do not need to do that, but yeah, you can do that. Even you can check that tap address and all, but it's totally fine. It's up to you what verification you want to do that. Just put this command and UUID. It should show that ARP entry and MAC entry and tap entry. You can try that. Let me try that for you. Get uh, get logical switch UUID and MAC. Okay. a logical switch, and I can suppose I want to check app or the web. Sorry. Okay. Offset. Okay. Then if you want to check the app ARP or MAC or VTAP address, you can check that, like type MAC address. Okay. So how these are the MAC address of these VMs. Or ARP, if you want to check, you can type ARP, or tap address you want to type tap. Yeah. Okay. So these are the few commands which you can use for the verification. Okay. Sorry, it's a VTAP, virtual tap, not tap. Tap was in NSX. So these are the few things which you can do that. Okay. So these are the host EXXI where these VMs are present. Okay. And these are the VM IP addresses. Okay. So yeah. So these are the tasks. Let's move forward for another task. This is done. And the next task should be the uh, H preparation here. Okay, VH preparation. H has a few functionality, which let me show that what is the capability of the VH devices in that in NSX. It does support netting, DSCP routing, DSCP relay, VPN, L2, L3, and load balancer. So these are the few terminology which it support. An appliance has two more EXXI, or else you can deploy for the NSX, which I am going to use this one. Okay, it has three more: small, large, and extra large. Small, medium, large. Okay, and yeah. So these are the few terminology, and these are the three port which is mandatory on the each device. It should be one is for the management, one is for the Genab. Genab is your overlay network, is your VXLAN. This is the physical network which you want to communicate outside. This is the minimum requirement of the edge device. Should be the tree interface. This is the naming convention. This is how it should look. Okay, and if you check the wide picture here, so if I go physical interface is your physical router, which is going to be VLAN 100, and these are the edge cluster. I have two edge cluster. I'm going to configure it H1, H2. Okay, and on the edge 1, H2, I will have the NVDS. Two NVDS where you will see the app DB and the web port group here, which I've created. VLAN 10 is the management IP address. Okay, the one port will be the management. Second will be the for your VM communication. This is the for the VM communication. Okay, it means cluster to compute communication, is to compute communication. This interface going to be used, and this interface going to use for the outside communication. Okay, you can check the management communication in order to communicate with the NSX T manager. This is for the in compute node communication. This is for the outside communication. So node is the one who is responsible to send your traffic outside. Okay. Okay. So this was the overview picture. Okay. And this is the few of the terminology of the okay, which I will talk later on that T1 T1 T0. Okay. This is the high level of overview of the NSH cluster. So let's start with here system node. You will see node should up, even the KVM should up. If I go standalone, KVM should show success. Okay. If I go here edge transport node, I don't see any edge devices here. I can add here. I have here some of the value. Okay, these are the edge devices. This is the one to interface. One is this management. Second is for the transport. This is for the external. Okay, and third will be for transport. Okay, this is for the transport. Okay, and this is the vCenter, which will be indirectly communicating with the NSX, because edge devices will be deployed on the indirectly on the VCSA vCenter only. Okay, So this is the name values which I am going to use that with the on the NSX T vManager edge deployment. Okay, this is the FQDN name of the device. I'm going to use the medium size, not the small size. Small size has some limitation, like some load balancing things and some extra things which you cannot do that. Okay, so I'm going to use medium, and these are the CPU resource allocation, excuse me. And yeah, so next, I'm not going to touch anything here. FQDN name, okay, something is wrong here. Okay, so this is the dot. Okay, so next. So I'm going to use a credential. Credentials will be the normal VMware. Okay, I can copy paste it to avoid that any kind of, or I can type it VMware. Okay, I can confirm it, same password. Okay, as such, I want to allow that as such. And root password is mandatory. So I'm going to use this. And similarly, this I'm going to use this, and a similar password I'm going to use this. Allow this as such for the root, and I do not need to keep a editing credential, or if you want to do that, you can do that as UAVs. It's not mandatory, but root and all thing, root and normal credentials, CLI credential is required. And this is the compute node. Compute node in the sense we have a vCenter, IP or FQDN name you can give. Okay. Okay. Fine. And cluster will be your management. I'm not going to compute cluster, so I'm going to use management cluster, which where I will allocate that. And database, I'm going to use a remote one. Okay, so let me cross verify that. I'm not going to touch any pools and host because I'm going to allocate the static IP address. Okay. So yeah, so these are the few terms. Okay, so database will be the remote. I'm going to select no. Next, I'm going to use a static IP address. So this will be the IP address. So .10 should be the gateway. Yeah, .10 should be the gateway. So I'm going to select, sorry, I'm going to use 172.16, sorry, 172.20.10.10. Okay, so I'm going to select management interface. As I told you, there's three interfaces. I'm going to use PGSA management. So one interface is created for the management communication with the you can say with the manager. We manage, sorry, we manage NSX T manager, and then TP will be the same. Okay, 72.20.10, sorry, 10.10. Then will be the next. And this is the your overlay network. If I go here, so this will be the second interface, Geneva interface, okay, which is going to communicate with the DCXXI host with the VLAN 11, okay. If you can color modify, check that. So first interface I created with for the management communication. Second interface I'm going to create it, okay. So what is the values of second interfaces? Let's copy paste from here. I'm going to select this switch which I already created. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to use transport node for overlay. And I'm going to select uplink for the single NIC default, or you can create it. I already have created one. Okay. If I cross verify that, fine. Pool I can use. Then I have to select the PGSE interface overlay. This is the uplink of the interface. I can select pool. I can use that pool. And I can select interface. Interface going to be PGSA edge overlay. Okay, edge overlay. It's already configured on the DBS switch, so no worry about that. And then should be the finish. Yeah. And before finishing, I'm going to create third interface. Okay, third interface is your physical transport network interface, which is going to be this one. Okay, and in here we have here. This is the interface which is going to communicate with the outside world. Okay, from edge. So if I go here, click create new. Okay, so I have option here, create. These switches are already created while creating transport node. So please specify the same name, otherwise it will create the problem. Single same for the uplink. I'm going to select the tick will be the uplink, if I'm not wrong. This will be the your normal say uplink, edge uplink. This one. Okay, so if I check that both the switches were overlay. Okay, so if I finish that, it takes some time to deploy. Meanwhile, I can do that for the